Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thanks for joining us today, episode 75 of Manifest Monday, and we are the Spot Network. So, on the right, we have my brother Ramond. At the top, we got my brother DJ Zenas Official,
Yes,
and
sir.
right here, your boy DG. And today's episode is a pretty good one, man. We're going to talk about downward spiral. Sometimes whenever you get in the momentum, you're killing things, and sometimes things happen, life happens, and then you start to lose that motivation, you start to lose that drive, and then things start to just like fall back slowly, and before you realize you're way behind. And how do you get out of that funk? So pretty much, man, I'm gonna say lately things been hard. I've been on my grind, I've been killing it, right? But I noticed that there are certain areas that I'm struggling, and I'm noticing that downward spiral. For example, I'm gonna be honest, like my Spanish. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, my
Yep.
goal is to like learn Spanish every day, but it's been kind of hard to actually make time to do that. And number two, video editing, right? One of my goals this year is to like learn video editing. I got Adobe Premiere Pro. I was motivated. I went online, purchased that, got my subscription, but it's been 2 weeks and I haven't done any video editing. And I feel like I'm slowly going to that downward spiral and I'm losing that motivation and spark again to get back on track. So my question for you guys or the people listening, like, how do you like overcome that though? How do you get over that hump again? Like whenever you feel like you was on this great path and then you miss a couple of days or weeks and then you don't have that drive and desire to like keep going. How do you mitigate and fix that to get back on track?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Kick us off, Z, on this one.
Um, how do you get out of a downward spiral? I think the biggest thing is routine. Getting back into a routine, whatever it is that your routine is. Um, Starting with the basics, man. If DG is, going to the gym, um, meditating, journaling, uh, I think that's a huge piece of just, really getting back to the basics, man, and reflecting. And when I say journaling, I mean really being real with yourself is like, why am I here? Like in this moment, right? Because
Right.
it's okay to be in the shit sometimes, right? We all find ourselves there. It's just I think it's important to be real with yourself about why you're there, right? Like why am I here? Why am I in this downward spiral? Why am I completely off my game? It started with something as minimal as, I missed the train this
All right.
morning. And then all of a sudden it went from missing the train to like I had the worst day ever. And then that worst day ever turned into a terrible week. And then
Right.
a terrible week turned into an unbelievably awful month, and then an awful month turned into maybe the worst quarter of my life, and then it's just like, damn, like it's just gonna keep going.
Right.
Like are we just gonna keep this thing? The ball's just gonna keep rolling at this point, and so yeah, I think the biggest thing is just being real with yourself, getting back to the basics, finding routine, the things that give you purpose and passion in life. Um, and I think honestly, like conversing with the people
Mm.
that breathe life back into you too. I think it's important to connect with them because people can speak life into you too, And so, whether that be, talking to y'all, whether that be going to church, hearing the word, whether that be, uh, you know, listening to a podcast, your favorite, whatever it is, I think whatever speaks life into you, um, allowing those people to do so.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bro. Yeah, bro, for sure, man. Especially on that having that circle around you. That's super heavy, man, because I think sometimes you can kind of lose track of who you are yourself just in like going through the shit every day, right? Like you kind of see your
Hmm.
your flaws every day, and then sometimes it just your people kind of might see that light in you when you don't see it in yourself. So I like that piece, man.
Yeah.
I gotta back up a little bit on my side and just be it's I think sometimes shit happens so like big in your life, like a lot of times we have those little things, missing the train and stuff like that, right? But sometimes they happen so big on your life that it kind of flips everything,
Mm-hmm.
like your whole perspective of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's a little bit harder to bounce back from.
Agreed.
So I think in that moment, I think having a routine before you go through those moments is important, because if you don't have a routine before you go through those moments, it's really gonna get crazy
Mm-hmm.
when
Right.
you do. Right. It's just really like you don't really not don't even know what you're doing it for. You know what I mean? If you're not not passionate about things, when shit gets shaked up, I think it's important to kind of just sit. You know what I mean? So I think that's the first thing I would say. If you start going through those moments, is just kind of like sit there, man. They say like, the thing is, if you're in a hole, if you're already in the hole, sometimes the best thing to do is stop digging.
Right.
Sometimes you're so eager to just try to do something and get out of there, that like you just really just digging yourself in a further hole, no matter what that whatever that
Yeah.
looks like. Is I think it's important sometimes to just sit there and just breathe and really and just kind of like analyze what's really actually going on around me. And
Right.
before you can take steps to be doing the right thing, is like I think you had to avoid doing the wrong things, man.
Yeah.
I know going through some of the tougher times in my life, that's some of the best pieces of advice that I actually got, was like, um, um it's really about in those moments, if you're really going through, just like, I don't know, real tragedy in your life that's really flipping things for you, is really trying to find habits that are positive. Because
For
it's easy,
sure.
like you're gonna probably those moments, something's gonna be calling you to get addicted to, just to even take your mind off of what's really happening in your life at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing is like in those moments is not latching on to the negative habits, because they could really just out of nowhere, that could just be your life. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, that bad quarter that you had could turn into a bad year, and then that bad year could be like habits that got you for the next 10.
Right.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? So like I think that's super important, is to like just make sure that whatever the habits is, even if they feel weird at first, it's like you going through some shit and you ain't never meditated or something. Like
Right.
it just feel weird to just sit down in silence, you know what I'm saying, on the floor and be doing yoga and shit like that. But it's better than downing a fifth of what I'm saying,
Right.
Jack Daniels or something. Like like at the end of the day, you know, they both going, they both could become habits in your life, and like out of nowhere, it could you look down the line and it's a year later, and
Mm-hmm.
this is what you've been doing for a year. So yeah, I think that's important, to just before going to what you should be doing, is just knowing what you shouldn't, man.
Right.
We all know certain shit is just bad for us, whether we like doing it or not. That's
Right.
just and I'm not here to like shame nobody. I still I partake in some festivities. You know what I'm saying?
We all got our
You know,
vices, man.
yeah, I got them, but I think the truth is just like in those moments when you start to feel yourself like downward spiraling, is like grabbing on to positive shit instead of
Right.
the negative shit. I think is important.
Right. I would say just for me, man, like the hardest things to do is just try not to get off track, right? Because everything is momentum, right? When you're killing things, you're doing things every day. You build that momentum to do it more.
Mm-hmm.
And the same analogy applies to when you're slacking. Even I noticed that for me when I started before when I used to miss my workout, I noticed that it was a lot easier for me to skip workouts, right? Because now I'm training myself to like miss workouts. But whenever I'm just consistent with that. I built that momentum. And the same thing with like downward spiral. So whatever, let's say if you are on a routine, and when you break that routine, try to get back as soon as possible, because the longer you wait, like 2 3 weeks, it makes it a lot harder. And that's one of my mantra. Whenever I go on vacation, like for a week or two, I try to work out like almost every day, because I know if I go like a week without working out, coming back to like build that routine again, it takes way more work, discipline to get back on track than if you like just kept doing it just a little bit here and there. Just kind of like for me, that's kind of what I'm going through, right? Because at one point, just overall Spanish, every day I was on the streak, I was killing it, studying every day. But I realized that even though I was just doing it, but actually wasn't learning. So I like, I fucked it. I'm just gonna take some time off. and actually redo it when I feel like I'm ready to learn. And by taking time off, now it's harder for me to like build that discipline again to get back into actually doing it, bro.
Yep.
So that's one of the things to avoid downward spiral. Is like whenever you have something positive, it's like we hear this saying all the time. Whatever that got you to the top, keep doing those things because if you stop doing those things, you're gonna go back. Same thing applies to like if you're somebody that's in a great shape, you work on your business financially, you're doing progress. Whatever you did to get there, keep doing the same thing because whenever you feel complacent and you feel like, oh, now I can cruise and just chill, you're gonna lose that focus and purpose to keep going, man. So I feel like for me, how you get over that is just to make sure that you just try not to like try to do things every day. And Caston mentioned a really good point. He said just having people around you, right? People who are, whenever you have these conversations with your friends and they're, oh, I'm doing this, bro, I've been disciplined, you're more inclined to keep doing things that are going to like push you to be better. So just having people around you who are achievers and doing great things, those are the things that motivate you and keeps you going. Because life's going to get hard, man. Like, and for me too, it's like, it's just hard to like find balance. So like now my question is like, I know we had this topic before. Like, how do you create balance to make sure that you are pursuing all the things that you want to achieve in your life and making sure that you're not like focusing on one thing and neglecting the other? How do you create that?
No balance, man. Ain't no balance, man. I've been trying to find a balance since I made that song in 2018, brother. I ain't trying to figure out the balance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really, man, the more and more I think about it, is like balance is not for someone who's trying to be a super achiever.
Mm,
I just think that's the more that I kind of like really break that down. It's not like, the person that has a perfect balance of rest, family time, um, you know what I mean? Uh, a morning routine, a night routine. You play your hobbies, you go out just the same amount of time. You know what I mean? If you have that perfect balance, I think that's not like that's really not, it doesn't usually match up with like a super high achiever as far as someone who's like getting super far ahead in whatever the thing is that they're really trying to focus on. I just
mm,
don't think that that's the case. So I think being honest with yourself is like if you want balance, you got to be cool with like maybe like not setting your sights so high for like the lifestyle that you want to live. Because that's cool. You can have balance and have a great life. But like if you trying to like tell yourself, I need, this is the type of lifestyle I'm trying to live, and then trying to have balance at the same time, they sometimes don't connect. So I think the truth is just understanding that part. Is like what kind of thing do you want to balance at this time? And what's I think for me is what's the most important thing right now to be
Mhm.
focused on. So
Yep.
then maybe later I could like balance out other areas. Like there's certain things you can't miss on the way up, but like there's certain things that you can cut out. And if it's not as important, like you said, video editing, I know you love to
right,
do it. I know you
right,
love to do it, man. But is it more important than those other things at this point?
correct,
Because if you put the same amount of time in finances and your business and your job and video editing, the time that you spent on each one goes down, and
fact,
like the results based on the productivity in each one of those goes down too. So
right,
Hmm.
the more and more I sit on that, bro, I just don't think that perfect balance is like attainable.
right,
You know, I think
right,
you younger, you might want to work more. When you older, you might want to chill. You know what I'm saying? But I
right,
it's not. I don't know if that works like that, bro. Personally,
right,
Yep. I agree. Balance comes in seasons, man. It's temporary. It's something that we're always constantly striving for, but I don't know if it's something that can ever be caught in the long term. Right? I think we can have moments of balance, but prioritization, man, it's necessary to thrive in life. There's always going to be something, someone that requires more attention than everything else in your life. And to that point that Ramon said, it's about putting a lot of your effort and energy into that thing, right? It's
Right.
not like that's going to be that, it's not like that's going to be the thing forever. That's not the
Right.
thing always. But for now, in this season of life and during this chapter, I have to pour all of me into this or into this person, right? And then as your priorities change and shift and desires and whatnot, and even beyond desires, like what you accomplish, right? Maybe you might check off that box of like, all right, well, okay, I was laser focused on this, made it happen. Now, like, what's the next thing, right? Then you shift your focus again. And so, um, I think it's definitely something that we absolutely strive for. And I know I do. I know there's not a lot of balance in my life right now. I ain't gonna lie, there's not a lot of balance in my life right now. I feel like I'm always cooked. I feel like I feel like, but it's like but it's a good problem to have. I feel like
Right.
I got a lot of things that keep me busy, and I know I don't have the healthiest habit when it comes to sleeping too, because I didn't go to sleep till like 4 this morning. Woke up at 7:30, so it's just like,
Yeah.
what am I doing?
Yeah.
Literally, I was literally about to like nod off before we hopped on this live because I was just like, damn, like, why am I so tired? And I'm like, oh yeah, I only got like 3 hours of sleep, so that checks out. That checks out. But yeah, I mean, I say all that to say, man, I think we're always striving for balance, but balance isn't something that you can have in the long term. And I think there's just always someone, that's just going to demand that
Right.
in your life.
So I don't know. Just I agree, but do you think that if we structure our time better, right, daily? Because I think most of the time, most people lack proper time management, right? It's
Agree.
like we don't schedule our days in the way that we are efficient because I need to, okay, I'm doing these things from this time to this time, and after that, I'll do something else. I feel like most of all, we just wake up and then we just allow the day to dictate whatever we do.
Hmm.
So do you believe that if we have better control over our time and manage our time better, we might not get to that perfect balance, but at least we can like make sure that we have a decent level of balance. Do you think it's possible?
No.
I know. Yeah.
When you was going through that, the main thing I was thinking of was when I think about like what people would consider a high achiever, maybe
Right.
somebody like I don't know Kevin Hart or somebody at some point maybe LeBron James. We always talk about certain people that's just like really great and successful in whatever that thing is. Michael
Right.
Jackson at a point, um, maybe I don't know Jeff Bezos in business or what I'm saying, just certain
Right.
things, right? Like certain people that are just like super high performers. I think they do have great time
Right.
management, but that doesn't mean they're balanced.
Right.
I really I don't think they're balanced. I think like when you because that balance doesn't look the same for anybody, right? Like if you look at LeBron James, Kevin Hart, Jeff Bezos, and then like let's say like whatever I don't know Michael Jackson's like routine was for his day. They
Right.
probably had like a lot of time spent to whatever they was doing, but like still it wasn't the same exact day. You know what I mean? And there's
Hmm.
certain things that each of them guaranteed that LeBron's in better shape than Jeff Bezos.
Right.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like they're focused on different things, but that balance just it doesn't exist, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
Agreed.
the more I'm realizing it is like I'm going more to that space of like being okay with starting to just get more people around me that can help balance those areas that I'm not servicing. I think that's all what all those people do is like LeBron has great businessmen and make pay for his guys to get
Right.
different different degrees and and different certifications to work around him and be great at what they do so
Right.
he can stay doing great at what he does. But I don't think he would be able to, if like LeBron didn't have like a manager or
Right.
what I'm saying,
Hmm.
or like a business assistant, or just if he didn't have a team like that, there's no way he could be just balanced through all these
Yeah.
sheets. You know what
Right.
I mean? He's
Agreed.
very great at the things that he's great at, and he's so great that he can appoint somebody else great to come be a part of his team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
Right.
I think
agreed.
that's I think that's how I would look at that. To be honest, I don't think
Yeah,
that even with the best time management, you can manage your time to be the best at what you're doing, but not the best at everything.
Right.
That's just
exactly.
I think that's a myth, bro.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. I think it's a myth. I think balance is achievable
Right.
if you want an average or regular life. If
Right.
you want that, then yes, balance is achievable. And
So you don't think
I'm not even trying to like I'm not trying to throw shade or knock anybody. Like if you want an average or a regular life, I do think balance is attainable. You know,
right.
but we're talking about greatness, right?
Right.
You know, if you want to achieve something of profound magnitude, then no, balance is not attainable in the long term.
Right.
Like I said,
Right.
you might have seasons of it. You might be balanced for like, man, this month worked out perfectly.
Right.
Like literally everything. I mean, from like me balancing my family time to me getting my workouts in to me, obviously journaling every day, all this stuff, boom, like I literally everything, like I've never felt this balanced in my life.
Right.
That's not gonna be forever though.
Right.
Like that balance is not gonna be I don't care how good your time management is. We all have good days, we have bad days, we have bad
Right.
weeks, we have good weeks, all that stuff, and I think balance is, like I said, I think it's something that we strive for. I just don't
Right.
think it's something we're always in constant pursuit of it,
Correct.
right? But I think anyone who understands greatness and just what it takes to be special, like you have to innately believe that you're special in life, right? To
Right.
if you want to achieve something of greatness, you believe that you're special for whatever
Right.
reason, and you have to believe that through and through, and don't allow anyone else's input or opinion to persuade you otherwise.
Right.
um but you also understand the sacrifice that comes along with that, and just understanding that what you're trying to accomplish. People are always going to project, people are always going to try to tell you, oh well, you got to do this and you got to do that, and you got to make time for this and time for that, and it's just like, I hear you, I hear you, but you can't spread yourself too thin, man. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and you just ultimately have to believe that whatever it is that you're doing day in and day out is contributing towards that ultimate goal. And I
Right.
think that ultimate goal, we always talk about what the ultimate is, right? Like the ultimate is the greatest thing, right?
Right.
And the greatest thing is going to require the greatest sacrifice, and a lot of these people who Ramon named, right, are people, they're anomalies, right? The Michael Jordans, the Michael Jacksons, it's not like these people are just, we're
Average.
talking about
Right.
like once in a generation, maybe even
Right.
multiple generations. I don't think we're going to see another LeBron for who knows how long, right? Um, Especially, someone who's like at 22 years into his career, still balling at the way that he like the way that he is, right? Um, we're not going to see a lot of these things or people or any of this shit being replicated, because it's just it's almost, I don't want to necessarily say a perfect storm, but there's like there were so many different opportunities and um just different sequences of events, and ultimately just believing, I think, in order for all this shit to happen, right? In order for it to manifest. I think about it a lot. I think about like people like Mike Tyson, right? If Mike Tyson never met his trainer, who knows what his life would be like, right? Because
Right.
like his trainer is the one who turned it. He became one of the greatest boxers of all time because of his trainer, right? Like, but if he had never met his trainer, if that had just whatever, for whatever reason, like that chance encounter just never happened, then what, right? And so I think there are a lot of people who have potential out
Right.
there.
Right.
Everyone has potential,
Right.
but most people don't live up to it, right? Most people like are capable of greatness, but how many people actually accomplish that?
Right.
And um that's the reason why I just don't think balance is attainable in the long term.
I agree, man. Because sometimes I be trying to find that balance, right? It's like I'm searching, and I notice that whenever I'm doing good with my fitness and my finances, other areas of my life I'm struggling, right? Like my relationship, my hobbies, I'm not making time for those things. So then reflect and think to myself, like, damn, how can I like make time to just make sure that, because I feel like balance is different for everyone, right? Because my balance might be different from your balance, and compared to that other person. But like then, in the part of me is like, keep trying. You're gonna figure it out. It's gonna get better. And that shit like still is like it's like I'm juggling. I can never figure it out. It's like how can I, and part of me always want to like try to figure it out, trying to figure it out. Like how can I like reach to that level that I'm spending enough time on business, I'm spending enough time on my personal relationship. I'm making time for my hobbies, and I'm just living the life that I want to live.
Hmm.
And like you said, man, it's so hard to just be able to do all that every day.
Hmm.
Sometimes when I make time for the hobbies, then I notice that I'm not like making time for the business. And at this stage in my life, I feel like my financial health makes more sense than like, some of my hobbies, right? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like I think Caston mentioned that we don't have 24 hours in a day. We don't have that much time. So it's only about prioritizing what's important to
Yeah.
you. And for me now, those other things are important to me. But however, then I still reflect on the day like, God damn, I didn't do these other things
Yeah.
today. So part of me want to be able to like, I don't know, maybe I'll be telling myself, maybe you're not good at time management. If you better your time, if you structure your time better, maybe you might be able to make an hour for your hobbies, right? You might be able to do this. So that's why
Hmm.
part of it, I keep asking myself that question, keep going back and forth. Like, man, maybe I need to
Yeah.
get better. Maybe I need to
Yeah.
do better. Maybe I can balance this a little more.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Me
So
too.
it's
I
like,
agree. Me too, bro. Like you're not the only one who believes that. I think Cass made a really good point that I wanted to circle back on. He said you can't do everything. You have to be wise about how you choose your time.
right,
That's why people delegate, right? That's why people get chefs, drivers, cleaners, all that stuff. And I think like if you talk about greatness, in order to achieve greatness, you have to delegate. Delegation is a part of it. You have to delegate to be great. No one who accomplished anything great did it by themselves,
right,
right? Um, they ultimately had to delegate some kind of task, um, and just it's about trust, you have to be along that ride with people that you genuinely like trust to go to the end of the earth and back with, right? Um, so that is something that I did want to circle back on, because I think that was a bar, right? Like shout out to him and Marco. They've been in here dropping some gems, man. But yeah, that was just something that I wanted to circle back on really quick. Is delegation is critical to accomplishing greatness.
So let's connect the point of the episode and this balance point right here, right? If
Hmm.
you find yourself in a downward spiral that we're talking about, do I think it's better to try to find balance or try to focus on like a few select things in those moments?
That's a good question. I
damn,
think it's better to focus on a few select things, man. Me personally, I think it's better. We talk about it all the time, decision fatigue, right? Like, I think you got to, when you talk about structuring your day and building that routine to get yourself out of that rut, I'd rather like prioritize, all right, like what are my non-negotiables for today?
right,
Like, in order for me to have a successful day to day, what are the non-negotiable things I got to do today, right? Do I have to go to work? Do I have to go to the gym? Do I have to work on music? Do I have to journal? Do I have to meditate? Do I have to shower? Do I have to brush my teeth? Like, you have to like do in your mind, like, okay, like in order for me to have a successful day, I know what is non-negotiable. Like, this is the others are great to haves, right?
right,
Like it'd be nice to do this, and it would still be a successful day without it,
facts,
also, right? So like I think prioritization,
right,
right? Like figuring out what that is, but making those non-negotiables healthy habits and making them a select few so that like you don't have to exhaust yourself and get anxious about like overthinking shit,
right,
right? Where it's just like, damn, I'm sitting here and now I'm burdening myself with all these thoughts and shit because I got 17 things that I got to do today. And I'm like, fuck, man. I don't know. Like, yo, I'm stressed the fuck out, right? And you're already stressed, so you're just going to stress yourself even more. It's going to make it even more difficult to get out of that downward spiral. So I think it's better to like just do laser focus, just pick the few select things that are attainable, that are going to that are good habits and that are ultimately something that you can really that ultimately feeds your spirit. I think more than anything, like
right,
like it has to serve you, too
right,
though. Like it can't be something that is just like the idea of it sounds good, right? You know, like it's like, oh, that sounds good, you know, but like, does it absolutely serve you? And
Right.
if it does, then do it.
Right. I think that's a good point, Z. And one thing you mentioned is the non-negotiables. I think those are important. And for me, like, it's easier. Like, in order for me to have a good day, I just need to work out today. You know, that's my non-negotiables. Like, I don't care if nothing else is being done. Once I get a workout in for that day, I believe I already won the day. So I prioritize workout over everything. That's why I do it first thing in the morning because I
Mhm.
know evening time I'm busy. I got other things to do, demand other things over here. So for me, like the hardest things got to be done early. So that way, when life happens, I know that I already got that done. And I think just by having, like Z mentioned, by having non-negotiable, it makes it a lot easier. Because whenever I have my to-do list on the board, I go through it, I'm like, do video editing today. But if I don't get that done, I'll be fine. Even though, yes, technically one might argue, oh, you slacking, but for me, it's like, it's not my non-negotiable, right? My non-negotiable is like the business work, you know, like fitness. So at the end of the day, once I get a lot of things done, when I look at my to-do list, and I look at the things on the board. If it's not my non-negotiable, I can put that out for tomorrow and do that again. So I think it's very important to just have non-negotiable, man, because it makes it a lot easier when you go
Mhm.
through the day and know that, all right, I got to get this done. No matter what, I got to do this today. You know, like this, I cannot put this out for tomorrow. Like this got to be done.
Yep.
And I think by having that mindset, it makes it a lot easier to structure your day. And also, I mean, I think with downward spiral, man, it's hard sometimes because you got to ask yourself this question: like, if there is something that you're not doing, why is it you're not doing it? Maybe you got to reevaluate your goals. Do you really want this bad? And sometimes I ask myself those questions all the time. Some of the things I want to accomplish, I'm like, do you really want this shit bad? Because if you really want this shit bad, you'll be making time for this every day.
Yeah.
Would you be okay? Like, technically, part of my brain has accepted that my life would just be fine if I don't learn Spanish and become fluent. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, no, I'll be honest, bro. This is honesty right here. So for me, it's not like a burning desire to like
Mhm.
push myself to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Just something like I want to do, like a hobby to me, right? But there are other things that I believe that my life is not going to be complete if I don't reach this specific goal. I'm going to feel like
Agreed.
unfulfilled. So that force, those are the things that keeps me going, even on days when like I feel like I don't want to do it. So I think the importance of this is like whenever we set goals, we got to ask ourselves this question: is this something that you really want to accomplish? Because if something that you really want, you're going to do whatever it takes. If the goal is you're like, oh, I don't care, I'll be fine. And that's when we don't achieve those goals. Whenever we believe in our head, we're going to be okay.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's when we don't achieve those goals. So whenever this is like goal setting now for me, is that whenever you set those goals that will challenge you and you like, I'm not going to be okay if I don't achieve this goal. And those are the things that are going to keep you going day in and day out when life gets hard because you know you're going to do whatever it takes. So like for me, bro, like video editing, I'll be fine. I'll be honest. If I don't learn how to video edit, I can hire somebody to do that. I'll be okay.
Facts.
But that's just like more like a hobby for me, right? I want to learn. So now reflecting on goals, man. Sometimes we don't achieve goals because it's like we don't create goals that our life kind of like depend on it. Like I gotta make this happen. I want to do it because I have family. I'm doing it for my mom. I want to buy my mom a house. Whenever you have those compelling goals, bro, like even on days that you don't want to work, you push yourself to do this thing because like God damn, I need to do this shit. You
Yeah.
know, so that's kind of like just talking about like thinking about the whole downward spiral for me personally. Like the areas I'm struggling are things that I personally don't view as important compared to other goals that I'm pursuing.
Hmm.
You know, that's why I noticed that I'm struggling in those areas.
Hmm.
Bro, that's super important, man. And I think at some point you have to ask yourself like, why why do I even want to do it? Like, just
Right,
to be honest with yourself, I think, Z said it on one of the past episodes. It's like once you get to your 30s, it's like I want to start subtracting certain things. I've been adding
right,
so many things to my life. As you was going through that, something really hit me too. I like the way you put it, bro. It's just kind of like knowing certain things I won't be okay without doing consistently, and certain things I will.
right,
It's
Hmm.
kind of like almost separating them too. I think honestly, sometimes when we want to do something, we think everything has to be in our everyday thing.
right,
I got to do this every day to be, you know what I'm saying?
right,
And like you said, you might want to work out, make sure that you work out every day. But if you didn't do video editing every day, you might be cool with that. But initially, I think what we try to do is put everything on that same level of discipline,
right.
Yep.
and that's what
Yep.
we trying to be high performers in
And
30 things,
everything,
bro.
right?
Not possible. Not possible, bro. You trying to, you know what I'm saying? Go down to, you know what I'm saying? You trying to go down to Mexico for spring break and be
Hola,
fluent
mamacita, ¿cómo
at the same
está?
time and be like, sit down with the videographer dude and edit your own video and, you know what I'm saying? Hop over there and do 30 pull-ups at the same, like, bro, you're not going to be all that. Like, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
You know what I mean? You're just not, you know what I mean? You're
right,
not going to be that guy. So I think it is important to just be like, what am I cool with not making
Hmm.
an everyday thing? Because yeah, I think those like we saying with this downward
Yeah.
spiral thing, I think if you don't have anything to grab onto during those times, bro, I think you just spiral faster and harder
right,
Yeah.
because you don't know, like, I still got things to do. You just like, man, shit is fucked up. You
Yep.
know what I mean? I don't really
Yeah.
know what to do. And that's probably one of the scariest places to be. Is like, I don't know what to do while this shit is going bad. Everything's going bad around me. I don't know what to do. You
right,
Hmm.
know.
Yeah.
So, and if you
Yeah.
got 30 things, you still don't know what to do. You like, which one of the 30
right,
do I need? You know what I'm saying? If it is
Hmm.
only a couple of them, you still know, like, I can still have a successful day if I go hit this workout, eat good today, drink some water, and you know what I'm saying, and breathe for a little second. That's,
Yeah.
sometimes that's, you need those little things that's you still be successful without doing it every day.
Hmm.
and I,
Those things that aren't non-negotiables, you can delegate those things.
right,
All the things that aren't necessary, you know, aren't those are the easiest things to be like, all right, like let me go ahead and get this. And that's what I've been learning like more recently, you know, especially like with remote escapes and stuff like that, and just going through the different process. You know, I think naturally anything creative, I pick up creative things pretty well. Like, you know, like for video editing, I'm pretty decent at it, you know, because it's
right,
creative. Like I'm like I have a good eye for it, you know, just
right,
naturally. But I don't like doing
right,
it. Like, I don't like doing it. So it's just like, why am I sitting here and trying to like force myself to do it? You know, when it's just like, man, I could pay somebody to do this
right,
for me. And I think that's really what it is. Is just at some point you got to realize and recognize that your time is more valuable than anything else.
right,
And me paying somebody like $50 to edit a couple videos for me or whatever the case may be is way more valuable to me than sitting here for like 4 hours and editing like these damn videos that I know I don't like doing. Um, it's just you just recognize and I think that's also too why a lot of those people who are great and a lot of those people who accomplish amazing things, they recognize that too and they delegated it, you know, and um, at the end of the day, you got to trust the process, and a
right,
piece of trusting the process is trusting your people and your team.
right,
That's what you have to build the team. You got to put the pieces of the puzzle in place to
right,
optimize. You know, right? Just like Ramon said earlier, in your twenties, I feel like you're doing a lot of just experiencing, right? Like
right,
I'm doing and trying everything because I got to figure out what works for me and what doesn't, right? So you're just trying a bunch of shit. You're just adding all these things to your life.
right,
And in your 30s, I've definitely recognized it. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to add any more shit.
right,
Like I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm capable of. Um, and at this point, I'm just eliminating, right? I'm just optimizing. Like I'm just
right,
like, I know this doesn't serve me. Cool. I don't need that on my plate.
right,
And if it is something that I need, but like I'm not necessarily wanting to do it myself, delegate that shit.
right,
Let somebody else do it before me.
right,
And it's necessary when you're spiraling and whatnot, it may not be as easy to delegate, you know, right? Because there's probably a reason for that, right? But um, when you're spiraling, even in the moments that you can't delegate, that's why I think it is important to just minimize
right,
your to optimize whatever it is that's going to get you out of that
right,
situation because you can't overburden yourself with just this daunting list of like all this shit. Like it's just like, nah, man, I just need to focus up and do these four things
right,
every day.
right,
I need to
right,
sleep, I need to eat well, I need to work out, and I need to put food on the table. I need to
Right.
make money. If I do those things, it was a good day. Like
Facts.
those are the four things I do. Cool. And then just keep it pushing. And then, for the days that you don't do well, figure out why.
Right.
Hold yourself accountable and
Right.
keep it pushing. But
Right.
like I said, if that list is 23 things as opposed to them four, boy, you finna spiral even harder.
Facts. And bro, even like going back to like just goal setting too, because I think most of the time now, when we don't achieve our goals, it's like we don't really want it bad. Because I believe whatever goals and things that you really want bad, you're gonna make it happen. For example, remote escapes. You got wanted that shit so bad that you got figure out a way and made it happen. There are some
Hmm.
things, I'm sure there's some other things that you're like, oh, we don't care if we wanted this bad, we would have gotten it done. But like remote escape was one of those things that I remember when I'm talking to you guys, like the conviction to believe like, bro, we're gonna make this happen. And it's happened. And I feel like most often when people set goals in the beginning, we have this emotion, we are excited, but we are like going back to my example, we are okay if we don't achieve that goal.
Hmm.
So we don't do whatever it takes, right? Because like I said, I'm okay if I don't learn video editing. I'm cool with that, right? My life is not going to change, but there are certain things I'm not okay with in my life that I'm doing every day to change that.
Hmm.
So whenever people set goals, whenever they don't achieve their goals, I just reflect on my life. I'm like, man, I had this goal about this thing and I didn't achieve it. And the reason why, because like there wasn't any emotional connection with me in that specific goal. Like I didn't care. Like my life will be just fine if I don't hit that goal. But there were other goals that I wanted to achieve, and I got it done. For example, like my goal this year was to buy a house by the end of December,
Hmm.
and I was so fixated on that goal by like the beginning of this year, and I'm in the process of like closing on the home in like next month.
Yeah.
Cause I
Shout
every day
out,
that's
man.
all I thought about, bro.
That's
Like I
fire.
wake up in the morning, work with the numbers, how much I need to put down for down payment, like doing the math, figuring shit out for like 4 months. And by being so obsessed with that specific goal, like I'm actually like manifesting that goal into my life because that's something I want to happen. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So that just shows me that whenever you put your mind to a goal that you really want, if that's something that you really want, you build that emotional connection, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get that goal, to achieve that goal. If you're not doing whatever it takes, bro, you don't really want it that bad. And looking back, there are certain goals I know for sure. I'm being honest. I really don't care that much. It's just it'll be okay if I get it right, but I don't care that much, so I'm not doing whatever it takes. Let's say if my life depends on like if I gotta learn Spanish within the next 6 months, I'm gonna like someone's gonna give me a meal. I'm gonna learn Spanish every day for 5 hours because that's something more like an emotional connection or reward, right? But I feel like sometimes we
Hmm.
set goals, and whenever that motivation is gone, we don't pursue those goals because it's like we really don't want those goals. We might think that we want those goals, and it's okay. You got to be real with yourself. It's okay that if you want
Yeah.
to be broke, right? Like for us, one of our goals is like financial freedom. And every time when we have conversation, we're talking about stocks, investment, and doing all those things, bro, that are going to get us there because that's one of our long-term goals. See what I'm
Hmm.
saying? That we're doing those things. So I feel like if you're not doing things that are in alignment, that's going to push you towards the goal. To me, in my head, like you really don't want it that bad, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Just be real with yourself. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Shout out to Ange and Vale. I see them just they tapped in all the way from New
Hey.
Zealand. So shout out. Um, but yeah, I just yeah, I gotta echo that sentiment, man. I think more, more than anything, man, you could lie to whoever you want, just don't lie to yourself, man.
Fact.
Lie to whoever you want, but just don't lie to yourself, man. You gotta be honest, because you gotta live with that. You gotta sleep with that every night, man. You gotta
Hmm.
be able to look. You gotta be able to look into the mirror and just understand that I want to go to bed peacefully at night, just knowing that, okay, I was honest with myself. I had a shitty ass day. I could have done a lot better. I had the 4 or 5 things on my list as far as like what I wanted to complete, what I set out to do. I did not. I only knocked out 3 of them. Cool. All right. I had that moment of clarity, held myself accountable, kept that shit pushing. Tomorrow's a new day. And I think that's the thing too, is like when you're on the path to greatness and wanting to accomplish something of immense magnitude, we honestly become our own worst critics and
Fact.
our own worst enemies in a lot of ways. So when we have bad days, it's this like it's almost like the end of the world, and it's just like, fam, it's not. Like, it's just tomorrow will be a new day, and you'll be all right, man. And I
Right.
think we have to remind ourselves of that, and I think that's why it's important to what we always talk about all the time is having community, man. Like, really have those people around you who
Mm-hmm.
just speak that into you, breathe life into you, because you need those people in those moments where you find yourself either having already spiraled or are spiraling, and it's just recognizing that, like, man, you gonna be all right, bro. Breathe,
Right.
breathe a little bit, man. Like,
For
breathe.
sure.
Um, because I know in those, I don't know about anybody else, man, but I can know, I can speak for myself when I say that when I'm spiraling, I typically internalize everything and I do it alone. And it's not always the best habit, man. And I acknowledge that. I think um, whether I'm happy, sad, mad, whatever the case may be, most people will probably never know because I'm pretty like emotionally consistent.
Right.
They
Um,
know when you happy though.
they know when hey, I be cheesing, man. I be cheesing. You know when I'm geeked. You know when I'm geeked, man. But yeah, I don't think that's always the healthiest way to go about things. I think it's okay to open up and be vulnerable, and especially in those moments when you find yourself spiraling, um, the shit can feel overwhelming because the shit is.
Right.
Like, it really is. Like, when you just feel like you got the weight of the world on your shoulders, man, it's okay to just be like, look, man, I don't know if I can carry this weight alone, man. Like, I gotta like, and it's not that I need anybody to help me carry this weight. I just need someone else to know what it is that I'm going through, so that
Right.
like, if you need any support and whatever that is, they can be there for you, right? And it's just like, it's not that shit, man. Like, I hit a fucking financial uh, um a financial hump, and for whatever reason I can't pay my rent this month, man. And I'm not saying I'm expecting you to help me pay my rent. I just needed to like vocalize this
Right. Vent.
because it's been stressing me the fuck
Right.
out, bro. Like, I just needed to say this shit out loud to someone who I knew wasn't gonna judge me for it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's all I needed. Like, I don't need you to help me. I'm gonna figure it out, but I just needed you to know what it is that I'm going through so that, I can obviously keep shit pushing and go on about it the next day. And I don't think we do that enough. I know that I don't do it enough, and I recognize it. Like, I find myself I feel like I've been trying to be better about it, especially about vulnerability and just opening up in those moments where, you know, um, shit isn't going well. Maybe it not hasn't completely hit the fan, but it's not going well though.
Right.
It's on the verge. It's on the cusp of the fan. So it's
Right.
just like, you know, but yeah, man, I think we overburden ourselves in a lot of ways. And those, to your point, Ramon, you said earlier, when we've dug ourselves in those holes, we end up just continuing to dig because it's just like, yo, I don't know, man. I'm gonna get out of this eventually, but it's just like, are
Right.
you really? It's
Right.
okay to open up, man. And it doesn't have to be a friend. It could be a counselor. It could be, your therapist. Whatever it is that you got to do to really power through those moments. But you gotta you gotta allow yourself to feel and open up about all of that shit too,
Right.
because otherwise it'll complete you'll completely succumb to it.
Right.
Yeah, bro. I was, you was hitting that, you was talking that shit, man, and that's like some of the biggest shit ever. Is I think like it's us as I want to say it's us because we're talking about it as men. We forget to do that. But just to add the other point to that too, another thing what we forget to do is like the same level like when we're trying to do good and delegate. Sometimes it's cool to delegate when you're going through the shit, and sometimes that's the worst thing. Is sometimes we be going through the shit and we still don't want to be letting we still don't want to let people take the little shit off our plate.
Yeah,
Right.
It be the little shit sometimes we like, nah, I got it, I got it, I got it. That shit ain't healthy either. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Sometimes it's like the little shit that, you know what I'm saying? I'm struggling right now trying to figure out taxes and shit. Like, and then there's probably somebody in your friends that the least they can do is send you a number to the tax person or
Right.
plug that for you, or you know what I'm
mhm,
saying, or like, you know what
mhm,
I'm saying, I don't. You going through, if you couldn't pay the rent that month, there's somebody to be like, man, and I'm hungry. Somebody at least shoot you the DoorDash or
Right.
something. You know what I'm saying? Like we
Right.
don't.
yeah,
We trying to let like not let people kind of like step in for us, and I've been one of the worst at that in life. Like I've like like actively denied help. Like,
Right.
nah, I'm good.
No
I
bueno.
realize, I realize I realize that's almost selfish in the same way. It's like
Right.
sometimes that's how people
Yeah.
show their love to you is wanting to be able to, do something for you, man. And a lot of times we still be kind of like, nah, I'm good, but and a lot of times we don't be good, and it's just like,
Yeah.
we gotta allow that space to open up, especially while we downward spiraling. And it's just like, could somebody help me with this little thing? And I think it's part of it is we want to handle it for ourselves, and we don't want to burden other people with what we're going through. But sometimes it's not even that big of a burden for somebody else,
Right.
right? If somebody's doing super good financially and it's your friend, you
Right.
probably don't care about no DoorDash.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get you something to eat, brother.
Yeah.
I
Get you
agree.
something to eat, brother. Like, you know what I'm saying? You
Facts.
know,
That's a good.
So I think yeah.
That's a good point. I know we're getting closer to the hour, the hour and 15-minute mark,
Yep.
and I got to leave here pretty soon. But I want to add something too about downward spiral, right? I think whenever we're going through a downward spiral in one area, it's better to not to allow yourself to like downward spiral in other areas. For example, if you're struggling, if you're somebody you just lost your job, you're struggling financially, cool. Try to at least maybe get better in the gym, right? Go, start working out more because you know you have free time. Don't just allow that financial downward spiral to just allow you to like neglect your fitness, your health,
Hmm.
and all those things, your friends, and all those people that all your close circle. Because at the end of the day, now that downward spiral get worse. Because not only that you're broke, now you're not in a great shape physically, you're not in a great shape mentally, and then it's just way harder for you to get out of it. So now, let's say next month you get a job, but now you gotta like work hard again to get back in the gym. So whenever you go through a downward spiral, just try to like control other areas of your life that you can improve on. Like, hey, since I don't have a job right now, I can't get a job right now. But the free time, what I got right now, I'm gonna be learning something a little bit different, right? I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna surround myself with people that can overall help me become better overall mentally. So just allowing yourself to like downward spiral because one area of your life is affected. I think you wish to do like that whole Ramon was talking about. Now it's so big, and you just keep digging because there's just so much stuff around you that you can get out of it. It becomes
Yeah.
a lot harder. So that's something I just wanted to add.
Yep. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's that time of the it's that time of the day, man. Y'all know here at the Spot Network, man, we always gonna put y'all on the spot each and every time. And what we gonna do? We gonna ask you a would you rather question to really spark debate, really just get your mind going. And today's topic is spiraling, right? So today's question is, would you rather be someone who rarely spirals, but when you do, it's severe? Or someone who spirals often, but mildly, and you bounce back quickly?
The mild spirals.
Uh,
That's
I'm gonna
crazy.
ask that question again. Would you rather be someone who rarely spirals, but when you do, that shit is like a category 5 tornado? Like we're talking about severe, or someone who spirals often, but mildly. Like we'll say like a
What's a
category
mild? What's
one.
a mild? Yeah, what's a mild spiral look like though?
We'll say like a mild spiral is like because we got to put some context into it. So let's say like the severe spiral is you probably spiral rarely, but when you do, it's probably like months.
Damn.
Like it's like I'm spiraling for like 2 months, type deal. But it rarely happens. So you might only spiral like once every like couple of years or something like that. Once every 5 years. But when you do, it's just like that shit is man, shit doesn't hit the fan, and it's like shutting the whole shit down. Fell off the face of the planet, whatever it is.
Like
The
blow the, you almost blow shit up from over the last 3 years
yeah,
that you've been cool. You almost
yep,
blow it. Like you fucking up. Yeah, you just fucking fully
yeah.
spiral, like fucking up everything, cussing people
Or
out, and you, yeah, you all kind of just you fucking shit up when you spiral, right?
or would you rather spiral often? And when I say often, let's say once a month. Once a month, you spiraling. Like you spiraling often. Like
What
it's just like fam. Like
what's a what's a mild spiral though? That's what I'm still. I know what a big spiral is, and you kind of
I feel like to me, the mild spiral is like, see, whatever you was working on, you just lose that motivation for a little bit, right? You're not
How long?
focused.
No,
You're not. You
no,
don't have
once a
that.
month. It can't be what, like
Okay,
a day.
okay,
I
let's
mean,
say once every 2 months. Like so, every 2 months you spiral.
For how
Like
long?
like two,
forever,
3 days,
forever. You're just someone
No,
who
no, I'm saying,
spirals
no, I'm
often.
saying like when you spiral in those little, like you
like
said
a week,
that if it's
Oh, like yeah, like a
like a
couple of
week.
days. I say like 3 4 days. You spiral.
and what's a mile spiral though? That's what we got to get to. It's like
So
what
you
am I
lose
doing when I'm spiraling?
motivation. You just feel like you just don't have that drive, that motivation no more. You don't want to talk to nobody. You just down
That's me
mentally.
now, man. I'm taking that one.
No, but like no, but not like when you're
Taking
happy
that
though.
one.
Like just like you feel like whatever you, it's just like you lose that drive, that spark that you had in the beginning.
I
Like
be feeling like that now, bro. I'm taking that one. What you mean, bro? Hey, that's the thing about me. People be, when I cut out, people just don't see me during that time. But
but
you know what I'm saying?
like no, it's not
That's
a
all.
spiral though. You just
It might
chilling.
be.
That's
I just don't see me during
no,
it.
but it's more like you feel depressed. You know what I'm saying? Like you're depressed. You feel like
Hey man,
you feel depressed.
hey
You just feel
man,
isolated. You know, emotions is like up and down.
Hmm.
I don't want to be. That's kind of what we're talking about. Not just
every
like
6 months it gets a little shaky for
you
probably
know
ain't
that
every two, but every 6 months, man. I don't know right from left. You know what I'm saying?
you know, like you wake up in the morning, like you don't want to get up in the morning, you just want to stay in bed, you know, those kind of things. You know, you don't want to get up, you don't want to face reality, you just want to stay in bed today. I don't want to talk to nobody. Just like you don't have that motivation. You just
That one, I'm
yeah,
taking that one for damn sure,
for
for damn sure, bro.
for
For damn sure. Like I said, that's damn near me now, bro. Like there's sometimes I just have to cut out for like a little period of time. Like I got a couple 3 4 days and I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to just get back. You know what
right,
I'm saying? Like I need
right,
to protect this, take this piece. I still got little waves like that. So
right,
I'm good with that, man, because I know what a big spiral can look like. And that shit, we talking
right,
about 2 3 months after like 3 years you've been cool, and
right.
that three
Yeah,
month period you
that's a
like
quarter. That's a long
fucking all
time.
that shit up. You fucking all that shit up. That I'm thinking about it like in health, you probably not working out at all.
Right.
You eating Rocky Road every night. Like you know
You
what I'm saying? Like
drinking? Yeah,
that three
Hmm.
yeah.
month spiral is probably just as crazy. So
Right. No,
I'm cool on that. I'm
yeah,
cool
I
on
agree.
that.
I'll have to join you, Ramon. Those down days, we'll be like crying for a few days.
I, I sleeping
Don't want to talk
in,
to nobody
sleeping
right
in.
now.
Yeah, bro.
Right.
Them boys spiraling all the time, man. I'll be like, oh no,
But it's mild though, right?
Wow, man.
they over
No,
there
but
twinning, they
I
over there
get your
twinning
point
and
though,
shit.
Ramon, because I feel like that some days, right? Like, you know, not like some days I'm just like down, like I don't want to do anything, I lose that motivation. And then after a few days, I get back on track. You know, it doesn't last, but I can't really imagine that lasting longer than a month. Because I know how to feel on that. That seems to me like a long time.
Two, three
You just
months
wake up,
straight,
yeah,
just
two
straight.
months. You don't want to do anything. You just want to lie in bed all day. That's like severe depression. So like 2 days of mild depression, a little bit feeling down. That's cool. But just like, cause it reminds me like when I had my surgery, right? Just being that moment, just not being able to do anything for like 2 months. Yeah, that wasn't a great time in my life. Just like, even though like it wasn't
Mm.
quite a downward spiral for me, but like just a little mentally. But I imagine not even worse than that. You can't really do anything. Like you don't want to go outside. You just want to stay home all day, drink, and not. Yeah, I would take the mild spiral every day.
Hey, bro. Not even a
Pregnant
question.
spiral.
Not even a question. Where you at with it, Z?
What are you joining us, Z, or what about you? Are you gonna join us?
Man, all spiral boys over here.
Spiral boys.
Oh, man.
Them boys spiraling.
Oh,
What,
spiral the
what,
dragon, you know what I'm saying?
what are you doing?
Come on to the dark
It's
side, brother.
okay. You're like, nah, I don't want to be like.
The dark side, man.
I mean, they're both pretty much equal, right? So like if you spiral like 4 or 5 days every 2 months, that's about 30 days a year, right? So like, you know, over 3 years, 4 years, that's like,
Three
you
months,
know,
yeah.
3 4 months,
Right,
right? So same thing, like it's really just like the same. It's just whether you want to do it all at once or whether you want to do it like, over a period of time.
Nah,
Right.
because it's the severity
Right.
too. Because you said category 5
Right.
on the 3 month.
Yeah,
Right.
Like
that's
it's
true.
severity
Yeah.
with it.
That's
You
what
know,
you crying every day, Z. You crying in your room like
I ain't,
I don't want
everything
to do
that
this.
you've been
I ain't
doing good
never,
for the last.
I ain't never been in a spiral where I cried every
But it's
day.
gonna be like that. That's category
Yeah,
Yeah,
five.
this
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this
true. That's
it's
true.
gonna
this
be
be
five.
a fucked up
Yeah,
3 months,
3 months.
bro. It would be a fucked up
But
three
like,
months.
what about we gotta make it out a little bit harder, right? So every other day we cry in the
Nah,
category one.
Yeah, we gotta make it more hard. Like,
that's
otherwise, it's just too
Right.
easy.
crazy, bro.
Like,
Every other day we cry. I think
Every other
that's
day,
no.
that's
I mean every
wild, bro.
no like twice a month, right? Like 3 days. So 2 days in a month, you have your spiral. You just cry and sad. Yeah,
I was like, 4 or 5 days. So then four or
yeah,
5 days, you're crying.
yeah. You cry, you cry. Yeah, I think that would be fair.
Crying.
I still, but that's don't sound like a mild spiral to me, but fair
I mean
though. I'm
that's still
still
minor
I'm still
though.
taking that one. Still taking that one. That 3 month one, I still think that's like we talking extreme too. Crying is
Yeah.
not like that's the
Right,
beginning level of it.
right.
You probably throwing shit, breaking shit, all the shit that you didn't acquire over the time. You might be smashing your own window, smashing your girlfriend's window, talking crazy to family. Like you crashing
Yeah,
out. Like
crash
you know what I'm
out.
Yeah.
saying? Like you crashing out, bro. So
Ye-
I ain't.
Yeah, that's interesting because, like, when I think about it, it's hard because even when, like, I think about it even in my past when I've, like, crashed out and, like, have spiraled badly. I've never been to that extreme, right? And so
Right,
I don't even know what that would, like, look like. That's interesting. But I also wouldn't want to know what it looks like, right? So, um, I guess I'll be a part of the Spiral
Come
Boys,
it's okay.
on,
unfortunately.
man. Go join the group, man. You gonna
XP
call us
XP
Rel
in,
gang.
step in.
Sparta.
rel Reluctantly, we the Spiral
Come
Boys.
on, man. Spiral boy, man. I think that just yeah,
Yeah,
because it's kind of like the thing of like over that amount of time of just like if you miss a couple days working out or doing the thing that you love just because you fucked up a little
right,
every 2 months, that's cool, but 3 months you could really fuck up everything in your life.
Yeah,
That's
right.
yeah,
like in a bad 3 months after you've been killing it for 3 years, you could fuck up
For,
all that.
for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Think about if you got a good job, you might just go in there, cuss out your boss on, you know what I'm saying? And you doing
Right,
this for 3 months.
right,
You talking shit to people, you know what I'm saying? Picking fights outside for no random reason. You drinking at the bar, throwing shit
right,
at, like who
right,
knows? You could really,
right.
you know what I'm saying? That might could end up in jail. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Doing it the wrong spot. So, yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I honestly think most people have like a little spiral here
Right,
and there.
right.
You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? I think that's that's
mhm,
that's regular. So
yeah,
I know you gotta get out of here, DT.
Right. Let me see.
yeah. We appreciate everybody tapping in, man. The Spot Network will be back next Monday, and every Monday after that, you can catch us here for Manifest Mondays. Be sure to follow us, man. I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Be sure to follow us, tap in with the journey. Follow us on YouTube specifically, on all platforms,
Right,
but specifically on YouTube. That's at the Spot Network Official. I'm gonna say it again. That's at the Spot Network Official. Um, we have all of our episodes on there. We have some super dope, DJ sessions and whatnot on there. There's more content and more things that are on the way. We got merch on the way, a bunch of things that are in the works, but we just need y'all to stay tapped in. So we definitely appreciate y'all rocking always. And other than that, y'all have a great week, a productive week. Manifest, and we'll see y'all next Monday.
right.
Yes, sir.
Let's
Take it easy,
go.
yeah.
Good night, everybody.